Welcome to Evansville Podcast. My name is Jason Burton. Thank you for listening. On today's episode, we are talking with Joe Atkinson, who's a digital multimedia specialist in Residence University of Evansville, and Cory Edwards, who's the official Evansville Podcast Movie Correspondent, about the 2017 Academy Awards, and they give their predictions on who will win for most of the categories. We also discuss righting some wrongs that had happened in previous Academy Award history. We also talk some overlooked movies, maybe. So, enjoy this one. This is Movie Week here at Evansville Podcast. Later on in the week, you'll see why. But for now, enjoy the Oscar predictions for 2017. But we're here to talk about the Oscars, I guess, right?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's something else, I'm unprepared.
It's actually, we were talking about movies not in the Oscars this year.
Yeah, John Wick 2 is not eligible.
Not eligible to next
It's eligible
year.
next year, though,
So excited about this.
I look forward to coming back next year and talking about.
Oh my gosh.
About not that movie. Probably.
I want to talk about John Wick 2 for like an hour, maybe.
I am definitely not prepared for that.
Oh my gosh. So
But-
Would we need to have seen it?
did you see the first one?
No,
Oh, then yeah, you wouldn't.
I'm probably not ready for that conversation.
You're probably not ready for that one.
Yeah, no John
Yeah.
Wick talk.
All right,
today.
no John Wick talk today.
We'll find something else.
All right. Well, podcast listeners may recognize one of the voices, the official movie correspondent of the Evansville Podcast, Cory Edwards.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Flick chart master. And all that. And then we have Joe Atkinson, who is new to the show,
Hi.
but not to
Thanks for
Evansville
having me.
people. You probably super Evansville famous at this point. with all of your appearances on the...
I don't think that says
Everything.
anything good about being Evansville famous, but you know.
No, you never know.
But actual movie expert.
Legitimate.
Whereas I just watch them
Legitimate
all,
person.
you have like ideas why they're good or bad. Whereas I'm just like,
Sure.
that seemed terrible.
Right, yeah.
That performance seemed very well done.
I don't know that I have much more expertise than that.
Oh,
I mean,
then that's good.
There are times that I can look at it and maybe go, I would have shot that a little differently. But yeah, most of the time it's like,
Yeah,
I just what I like is when I watch a movie and I don't like that part of my brain just completely shuts off. That's when I know I'm like when I get to the end of it and I'm like, I can't even speak about why I liked that. I just loved it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If I start noticing things like color,
Right.
you haven't grasped me
Right.
very
Yeah.
well.
If I walk out and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that movie was lit really, really well, then you probably did something wrong.
Not great. Not great. So you've done, we were talking before I started recording, but you were TEDx for the Evansville at War,
Yes.
which is a TEDx talk and a documentary.
Yes.
Right? Double dipping.
Yeah, we like to
mean, you
just
do
give as
it,
much
yeah.
credit for as little work as humanly possible is really what we go
That's
after.
respectable. That's totally respectable.
Yeah, we did Evansville at War this year on WNIN. I'm currently working on distribution for From the Ashes, which is about the UE plane crash, and have done other things before that nobody watched. And to be fair, they shouldn't have. So
No,
you know.
well, hey, you're one of the few guests I've had that has their own IMDb page. So, that's something.
And you wrote, didn't you write and direct one of the not the full scale play at the Civic Theater this year? Right?
I directed one of the shows at the Civic Theater Underground this past
That's
year.
right, the
a
Underground.
show called
That's
The
right. I
Nether.
couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I looked up. It's something about the UE Digital Media Specialist in Residence. What is that?
It's
is
a
it English?
huge title that means that I teach classes.
Okay.
Basically, but it's like they can't call me a professor because I'm not a tenure track person. So I'm the Digital Multimedia Specialist in Residence, which means that, like a professor, I teach classes and advise students.
Gotcha.
It just sounds fancy and makes me have to tie two business cards together.
a nice business card.
Yeah.
It's really small font.
Yes, very small font.
Cool. Well, enough of that junk. Let's let's get into it because we got a lot to talk about.
All right. Perfect.
Sure, let's do it.
So, but starting off is like there's a lot of categories, and not all of them are ever shown on TV, right? Sometimes, I guess.
There are technical awards that they don't aren't part of the main broadcast, and there are
Gotcha.
technical awards that are part of the main broadcast, but you go pee during them.
Right.
Yeah, they usually whip through those pretty quickly, like
Yeah.
not two at a time kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a lot of, or I grabbed off the official site. I grabbed the categories, and you can either say I have no idea or no interest, and that is a perfectly acceptable answer because there's a lot. So, writing the original screenplay. Do we know about these? The nominees are Hell or High Water, La La Land, The Lobster, Manchester by the Sea, and 20th Century Women.
I've actually seen 3 out of the 5 there.
I've seen all 5 of those.
You have?
Yes.
I think Cory should take this one.
Yeah. So
So writing, as movie watching, I like a story. I lean towards writing movies. Most of the ones I want to win Best Picture every year are like last year. It was kind of Revenant versus Spotlight, and so it was director movie versus writer movie, and I sort of leaned with Spotlight. So I thought that worked out really well from what I wanted. In this category, would pick Manchester. I thought Manchester was well written. I thought it was a movie that was all dialogue. I mean, there was nothing blowing up. There was nothing. It was tone, feel, and dialogue. 20th Century Women wasn't nominated for anything else, so it probably doesn't have much
It's
in play here.
dead in the water.
But I love the way he tells the story. I loved Beginners a couple of years ago, and The Lobster. Did you watch The Lobster yet?
No, that's one of the ones I missed. It's one of the ones I haven't seen.
The Lobster is very unique.
Yeah.
So I mean, for it to get a nomination here and really not anywhere else, I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
I actually downloaded The Lobster to watch on a flight to LA, and then just didn't. It was like
It's
it was
neat.
sitting on my phone. It was there. It was ready for me, and I just didn't.
It's one of those movies I really want to watch again because I wasn't sure what I was getting into, and I thought I liked it, but then I had to watch it again. I'm not sure. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize how funny they were trying to be. They weren't. They're playing. It's a comedy that's playing as it's
As a
happening
drama,
in
yeah.
real life, and but it's very funny. So I don't know. Hell or High Water.
Yeah, I loved Hell or High Water. I thought it was a great film. It's very well written, and I'm kind of like you in that I do think there are movies that are definitely very much like director films.
Yeah.
Where it's very much about the way that it looks. I mean, Mad Max is the pretty much
Correct.
quintessential director film. I tend to lean toward story too. I tend to lean toward the writing. I was actually in the Big Short camp last year. That was the one I really wanted to win. Because I thought I like something that's unique, and I felt like that story told a very complex. It told a very complex story. It brought a very complex subject to bear in a way that was interesting and entertaining and understandable and infuriating all at the same time. And I love that. I also loved Spotlight. I mean, they both were great films. This one, I think Manchester's got it in the bag, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see there. It's not Manchester's probably not going to win Best Picture, but people love it.
Yeah.
and they want to send it away with something. And
Writing seems like the spot for it.
It does.
And
because
La La
it's-
Land's going to win a lot of awards.
Yes.
But this seems like the one that doesn't fit as much.
Yeah, Manchester's a writer film. I'm stunned,
Yes.
honestly, that Kenneth Lonergan is nominated as Best Director.
Really?
Yeah, it
We'll get to
didn't
that.
surprise me. And it's not that I think he did a bad job. It's just it's not a director film.
Right.
It's very much a writer and actor film. And,
Correct.
And those two things are done exceptionally well.
Right.
So, yeah, I was surprised to even see him nominated. I think he gets the win here, though.
Yeah, I would agree. Manchester wins, and I would agree with that.
cool. Writing, adapted screenplay, Arrival, Fences, Hidden Figures, Lion, Moonlight.
See, this is one where I've seen again 3 out of the 5. I still
Which
haven't
two
made
have
it to
you
see
not?
Lion. I haven't made it to see Lion. I haven't made it to see Hidden Figures.
You did see
were the two.
Arrival.
I did see Arrival. Yeah,
Okay.
I did see Arrival. Those
seen
are the
all
two
5
that
of
came out
these.
after Christmas, and
Yeah.
like my big binge was over Christmas break, and then I had to go back to teaching and stuff. So, so I missed some of the ones
Yeah.
that came out right after. But of the bunch, I don't get really worked up about any of those. Moonlight, I think this is the one where they
this
kind
is
of
an
like with
easy-
Manchester. Moonlight's going to win.
Yeah, easy one to give to Moonlight because Fences was heavy dialogue, but I don't know. Fences is
They slap the play on screen.
that's
largely,
right.
You know,
And with Arrival, I don't know. Arrival's the only one I can think of that maybe they would give an award to, but once again, more director, more high tech things going on versus Hidden Figures is going to receive a lot of nominations. They're not going to win any of them.
Lion's probably much the same.
Yeah,
way.
Lion is, but Lion. I was really impressed with Lion, but yeah, once again, it's one of those based on a true stories. Sort of writes itself.
Yeah,
I guess
the other thing about Fences that bothered me, and I liked Fences, but the metaphor, the fence metaphor, the main piece, if you're watching that on stage, that fence is there and it's progressing the entire way through the play, so it's in your face the entire time.
Right.
I felt like that was diminished in the film to me because you didn't see it on screen that often, and you kind of lost that metaphor. And I think just for that reason, I feel like if they could have handled that better, I might have been able to get on board with that one for this. But I do think that Moonlight is...
Moonlight.
Yeah.
should and will probably win this one.
Yeah.
So far, I've seen none of these movies.
How many have you seen? Like
John Wick 2 next year.
John Wick 2, I'm all
There's a
over
couple
that one.
like Batman versus Superman got it, or no,
I didn't see
Suicide
that
Squad
movie.
got like a costume.
No,
design.
it's in there. I've not seen that either.
Oh, never mind.
Visual effects: Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, The Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
I have no dog in this fight. I've seen Rogue One out of the bunch.
I've seen Rogue One. I've seen Jungle Book, and I saw
kids saw
Kubo.
Jungle Book.
I saw Kubo too.
Yeah, my kids saw Jungle Book. They loved it. But
Yeah, Jungle Book was pretty neat.
yeah.
I guess visual effects. This is one where how do they judge visual effects? How much do you know about this?
Oh, this
side of
category.
it?
I really don't know that much about this side of it. I mean, I would think that what you're looking for is both. Really, you're looking for the use of visual effects and seamless integration into the story, in the way that they use them.
Then I would venture to say that gives Jungle Book a pretty strong opportunity to win, considering it could have come out very silly, and that you're having real animals.
Yeah, 90%.
Bill
of your
Murray
film
played
is,
a bear.
Yeah, 90% of your film is visual effects.
Yeah.
Your characters are visual effects.
What were the first two? I've seen Rogue One.
Doctor Strange and
Haven't seen that.
Deepwater Horizon.
Doctor Strange just hit. I think
Yeah.
it's digital
Is that
download
right?
now. It's not rental.
Cumberbatch?
But
Yeah, Cumberbatch.
yeah, I really want to see that. I haven't. I'm waiting for it to hit rental. It's on like you can buy it online now.
Yeah.
You can't rent.
I guess that could probably be a contender.
Yeah.
People have sort of been. It's been well received.
That's probably
Yeah.
all green screen at the right. I have not seen it.
I've not seen.
Yeah,
it.
I-
The only one I
So-
saw was Star Wars, which was really good.
So what are we going with? You're going Rogue One. 'cause you've
I'm
seen it?
going no dog in the fight. I got
Okay.
I got nothing on this one.
I'm taking Jungle Book.
There
I
you
thought
go.
Jungle Book was good.
Surprise.
You know, I think I did see that. My kids watched
Yes.
it, and I was in the room, so I really wasn't
counts.
watching it. But I
If
I
you
was
looked
in
at
the
the
room.
screen, you're.
I glanced
yeah.
up a couple of times. So
not a great, not great for Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Sound mixing: Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Rogue One, Star Wars Story, and 13 Hours: The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
Oh,
I'm gonna take
Michael
my first.
Bay.
I'm gonna take my one swing at La La Land here.
Okay,
It's gonna
good.
be my one time that
This
I'm
is
gonna
where
take a
you're-
swing
yeah,
at that
we
movie.
need you here.
Because the issue that I had, the only issue I had with La La Land, I didn't get into it at the beginning. The very first scene, that musical, it's a beautiful one take shot, caught
Yeah.
in traffic in LA. It's a beautiful shot, and I felt like I couldn't hear what they were singing. Like I felt like the sound mix on that song, just that first song, was atrocious. And it was fun. I thought maybe I was seeing it in a weird theater or something. And I sat down with a buddy of mine. We were having coffee over Christmas. And he looked at me and said, I didn't get into it during the first song because the sound mix was really bad in the theater. I said, yes, I had that exact problem. So that's the one swing that I take at La La Land and why I'm kind of surprised that it's nominated here, because I felt like that first track, I
that
had
big
no idea
scene.
what they were singing because they were so focused on the visuals, which were beautiful,
Yeah.
but the sound wasn't great there.
And this is one where war movies win a lot, right?
Yeah.
So like Hacksaw would have a shot here.
I would think Hacksaw would have a very good shot here,
Yeah.
actually.
Because the technical war parts of that movie were impressive.
And that's, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, and when you talk about sound mixing and you talk about sound design and everything else, the thing that you're looking for, and this is probably really more in design than in mixing, is, if I walk out this door right here behind me and I close it, that's going to have to be added later because the sound of me closing it is not going to be loud enough for the mics to pick it up well and everything else. So
Right.
all of those things get added, and how seamlessly you do that. And if you think about it, in a war movie, all of that you're having to design to make it feel like you're in a war zone, that's a lot.
So they're matching that up after the fact.
They're matching that up after the
Now,
fact.
is that
They're
mixing or
adding
is that
it.
editing?
That's more sound design, sound editing, I
'Cause
would
that's
say.
the
So
next
that's why I said,
category,
I was
yeah,
like,
okay.
I started down that road, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to keep going. I know I'm in the wrong category. I'm going to keep going.
'Cause I mean, Hacksaw's in there too, so you're good.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Hacksaw for
Yeah.
the next one. I'm preemptive here.
Doesn't
I'm
even
jumping
matter.
the gun. But I still like Hacksaw for this one too, because like you said, war movies do tend
Yeah.
to do very well here.
Which I didn't see 13 Hours.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Because Michael Bay.
I have a strict no Michael Bay policy.
I do too, actually.
Only Michael Bay that I will watch is Bad Boys related.
Oh, yeah, we did bond over the
I'll
fact
go
that-
back to The Rock too. I'll watch
The
The
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
That's
watch
good.
The Rock.
Armageddon, though, still garbage.
Total.
That was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you listen to our first one, then we bonded on Armageddon being
Yeah, that
bad.
was when I was like, oh, I guess maybe we can find some common ground. Sound editing: Arrival, Deepwater Horizon, Hacksaw Ridge,
Yes.
La La Land, and Sully.
Oh, and Sully got the one nod.
Sully got his one nod there.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, so we'll go Hacksaw again.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hacksaw on that one.
But if you need to absolutely pee during the Oscars and you don't have DVR, do it during sound mixing and sound editing. That sounds mean.
So yeah, so I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, but I did see Star Wars, and this is legitimate. I'm legitimately asking this question,
okay?
Because I think Star Wars is a pretty good war movie. Like, if you put guns, like bullets instead of lasers, then it's like a legitimate war movie. Is that is Hacksaw Ridge like that much more war and sad than Rogue One? Because Rogue One's a pretty sad movie.
Rogue One's a dark movie. Rogue One
is the first Star War.
Right.
Yeah.
The first time it was like constant war.
And I will say in that film, that is the first one where I got a sense that it felt like a rebellion. When they're in that the town, I don't remember the name of the town, where it basically everything turns into this giant ambush and war. I'm like, that looks like a war zone. Yeah. I mean, that looks like what you would think of as an actual rebellion. So I give them a lot of credit for that. I mean, the movie was great. The Hacksaw is it's more violent.
Would the difference be that all of Hacksaw is real people running on real land?
Yeah.
And the mixing sound, whereas a lot of Rogue One, I'm guessing, is CGI.
Could be.
So it's probably a little easier to match the sound with the video.
I think you're still. I mean, either way, you're
still really
creating
difficult.
it. Yeah, you're still creating it sort of from
button.
scratch. Yeah,
just push the button.
Yeah, that's one skill. The visual effects stuff I've just never wanted to get into, because it's just you walk into After Effects or whatever program you're using and just buckle in. You're there for a few weeks. I mean, it's amazing the time it takes to do these things.
Do we have either one of you have short films? Any of the short films?
Nope. I didn't see any of them this year.
We'll skip those.
They usually show them at AMC, all of the nominees, which is pretty cool.
Are they up on iTunes yet? They usually have they have them up as a package.
They had them in Indy, but our AMC didn't pick it up for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, they usually have a package on iTunes where you can just get all the short films.
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Production design.
To be fair, I haven't looked hard.
Do we know what production design is?
Yeah, but I maybe haven't seen all these movies, but
it's Arrival, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Hail Caesar, La La Land, and Passengers.
Interesting.
Yeah, so those are now the first one, Arrival, with the building of that entire vessel was pretty neat.
Yeah, and that this is one where I kind of feel like you've got two different sides to the category, because production design, generally speaking, is going to be the look and the background and what does everything feel and all that stuff. And you've got a couple of films that feel very CGI heavy, where you're sort of creating that from scratch, and a couple that are very practical, where you're actually there. I don't know that I have a point here. I'm just kind of acknowledging that I
wish I had some historical data on which one they lean to.
Yeah, I do too. I
don't have any of that.
The thing that I love about La La Land, I do love the look of that film. I mean, from everything in there feels like a very intentional choice.
And that's probably not set design. It's probably production design.
Yeah, a lot of that is production design. And I mean, it is every color, every thing in the frame, everything just feels so intentional in ways that other films don't.
So this does seem like one where they could win, because they're going to rack up 7 or 8 winners. This seems like an easy one to give them.
This is going to be one of those things, because if you remember the way that the Academy Award does this, or the way the Academy does this, is that when you're nominating, the people who are the branch of the Academy from that category are nominating you.
Right.
When you're voting for the winner, everyone's voting for you. So
writers nominate writers.
Right.
And then the Academy nominates.
Everybody
chooses a winner.
Right.
Gotcha.
So if you think about, this is one of those categories that probably 70% of the people voting don't know a thing about. Yeah. So they're probably going to go, I really liked La La Land, and they're going to vote for it, and that's going to be the end of it.
Sure.
Right.
Which is why you can kind of judge through the course of the night what's going to win, because you're looking at it going, all of these people that have no idea what the hell they're voting for, they're probably voting the same thing they vote Best Picture.
Which is how Mad Max won like every technical award last year.
Right.
Even if it was well deserved.
Yeah. Stuff blew up.
Yeah.
I liked it. Good.
Yeah. Cory loves blow up movies.
I do. So much.
Music, original song. Audition from La La Land. Can't Stop the Feeling from Trolls. City of Stars from La La Land. The Empty Chair from Jim, the James Foley story. And How Far I'll Go from Moana.
Now, How Far I'll Go, that's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It is.
Correct.
It is.
Who's awesome.
Yes. I think the only fear you've got with La La Land here is splitting your own vote. I was surprised they got both nominations, because they were pushing City of Stars
City of
really,
Stars
really hard. I loved Audition. Like, to me, that's the show-stopping moment in the film.
I gotta think here. Audition was which one then?
It was Emma Stone toward the end in her audition.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
So what was City of Stars?
City of Stars was Ryan Gosling.
Is that the one where they start floating away?
No.
After the tapping?
No. It's the one. It's actually in it several times, but it's the first time he's singing it is he's on the pier. He dances. He dances with the woman, and the husband's looking at him like, I'll kill you and eat your whole family. That was the look he was given, right?
I
think it says that in the script, actually.
Wow.
It's a very spot-on cast.
Yeah.
But so, I don't think Justin Timberlake's going to win. I don't know the other one. What was the odd one out?
Oh.
The non-La-La.
Yeah.
And,
The Empty Chair from
the Clint Eastwood?
James Foley story.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
so probably one of the La La Land.
I would
unless
think
they split.
because they've been pushing City of Stars so hard. I think that's where they end up with it. But
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for Audition. Like I said, that was the moment for me. That's the show-stopping moment in that film.
I would love it for Lin-Manuel to get up there. I would love it if he finds a way to win. This is one where I
Seems
don't
like-
really care, so I'd love for him to just win.
Seems like
Yeah.
it's his time right
It's
now.
his world. He's awesome.
We're all just kind of living in it.
Yeah. Music original score: Jackie, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, Passengers.
I loved Moonlight's score.
Yeah,
Because
Moonlight
it's
score
not
was really good.
the feel of the movie was not
It was
not
built in
classical
the score.
music.
It was built in the score.
It was really neat how they told that story with that sound going. I loved Moonlight.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I loved 2/3 of Moonlight.
Yeah,
And
the
I liked,
third act
I liked
wasn't
the
as
other
good.
third. I liked
yeah.
the last third. The middle third is just absolute
amazing.
powerhouse
Yeah.
filmmaking. I mean, it's sensational. I would go with it. I didn't have a strong impression on the La La Land score, honestly. I think it's got a good shot at winning here
Sure.
because it's La La Land. But yeah, I'd probably go with you. I'd probably go to Moonlight.
I have not seen Passengers. Have you seen Passengers?
From what I can tell, from everything that I actually was going to, and every
Yeah.
once in a while I'll look at the Fandango app and go, I should go see. 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what? I'm going to read a book today.
Yeah, and you don't think I have heard it's got a great score? I'm going to sacrifice the 33%.
Right? Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Mm-mm.
So yeah, I think probably this would be a good one to get Moonlight in there. Another win. Did we already give him one?
We give him one for writing.
Adapted?
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
give him an adapted one. But
Okay.
you know what? It deserves both of them.
It does deserve both.
So I'll probably skip makeup and hairstyling unless you guys have a strong opinion.
There's a very little chance I'm going to have anything.
That's
got to
be.
All right.
That's the one Suicide Squad's got a
Yeah.
nom for. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Florence Foster Jenkins, though, I have seen that. Is that
I have seen that one. Yeah,
that one would make sense there.
It's not on my list
Okay,
here.
never mind then. Sorry.
but it would have made sense.
It would have.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Foreign language films, probably haven't seen.
I'm deficient in that one this year.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm usually not, but I am. This
One
year.
received an award outside of that, so that's probably usually the winner when that happens. Because one got a Best Actress nominee.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Elle did.
Elle did,
Yeah,
yeah.
the one I've heard. I mean,
Tony
the one
Erdmann?
Yeah, Tony
Yeah.
Erdmann's the one I keep hearing about. So
Tony Erdmann. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. Film editing: Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, La La Land, Moonlight.
So in what way, okay, so as film editing, can we tell that a film has been edited well?
if you don't notice it,
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Is it to
mean,
some extent if you don't notice it?
So if I notice something, they didn't do a good job.
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah, most of the time.
This is going to be a La La Land win.
It is going to be a La La Land win, though.
Just
I could
'cause
make the
everybody
case
else
for
can't, yeah.
any one of them. I mean, again, this is another one where this is, to me, and it's just because of who I am and the way that I edit and the way that I do things, I would probably end up giving it to Hacksaw Ridge because the degree of difficulty in editing that kind of action and editing it to feel as real, because that movie was visceral. I mean, when you got into the battle scenes, that was arguably the most visceral war film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And for that reason, and the degree of difficulty that goes into that, to me, would put it over the top. But that's also because I'm a total wuss about editing action scenes. I hate doing it.
Really?
So I just tip my cap to somebody that can do that well. So there's a bias that I'm
Sure.
going to put into that one and say that I like that. But that being said, every one of those films is edited very. I mean, they're tight
Yeah.
films. They're good films. Arrival would probably be lowest on my list there.
Huh.
Not because I didn't like it. I mean, I like the film perfectly fine, but
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would guess this is one where they're going to throw it at whatever film the Academy liked a lot this year wins this award.
Yeah, Best Picture. It's going to get the Best Picture winner probably, which is going to be La La Land. But like I said,
spoilers.
I've also got a.
Or will it be? Don't get off the podcast.
Sorry. But yeah, I've also got a soft spot for Hacksaw Ridge. I actually really, really enjoyed that
You liked
film.
it more than I did then.
That's fair. There were things that I didn't like about it. I felt like Mel likes to browbeat you with the religious stuff and everything else.
A little bit.
And I absolutely felt like that was a problem there.
Some odd casting choices.
There were a couple of odd casting choices. I really liked Andrew
Vince
Garfield.
Vaughn.
I really liked Andrew Garfield.
I love Vince Vaughn so much, but that didn't fit.
I felt like he was just there. I didn't feel like he ruined the part. I didn't feel like he brought anything extra to it. I felt like, it's like in baseball, you've got the replacement level players, the guy that you can plug in and they're not going to hurt you, they're not going to help you. That's how I felt about Vince in that one.
I think, but if you put somebody that's not Vince Vaughn, the whole time I'm not thinking, oh, that's Vince Vaughn yelling. I'm waiting for him to make a joke, and he's trying to be, R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
I loved Andrew Garfield in it, though.
Really?
I did really like Andrew Garfield in it. I could make a case for him for Best Actor.
Wait.
And I will later, but, I'll lose on that one. He's not going to win, but...
All right, I'm skipping short subject documentary.
That's
good. Yep.
But have you watched any of the feature documentaries?
I've only seen Life Animated.
Okay. Have you?
What else is up
Fire
there?
at Sea, I Am Not Your Negro, Life Animated, OJ Made in America, and 13th.
OJ Made America is going to win.
Yeah,
according to everything else.
Win. That's actually out there now. I think is it on Netflix or iTunes or something?
Yeah,
you can watch it.
Yeah, I need to go out and watch that because it's on my list, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
I heard that is only able to be nominated because it was like a TV documentary,
Right,
but they showed it at a theater one time, and so now it's a movie and they can nominate it.
That probably is exactly what happened.
Because it's a series. It's not like
it's like five episodes or something like that. Yeah.
That's the one thing I have today. That's all.
Yeah.
Life Animated was feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah. You can watch that and feel happy.
Yeah. No, I want to see all of them. I think there were two that I was like, okay, before we do the podcast, I'm going to go watch all of them. And then I found out there were two that there's no way to see right now. And so I just tossed that whole thing by the way. I said, I'll get to them eventually. It was a noble thought though.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
I don't know why these are in this order, so I'm skipping this one. Yeah, it was like all of a sudden it was directing.
Do we get to know what we're blowing off? Oh, we're going back to director. Okay.
Well, let's just hit directing. I'm fine. We'll give a meaty one right now because this is kind of usually a big deal, right?
Yeah,
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit. People. Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight.
So Hacksaw's Mel Gibson.
Hacksaw is Mel Gibson. I'm stunned. I'm thrilled he got the nomination, but I'm kind of surprised that he got the nomination too because everybody hates Mel Gibson, with reason. But when the funny thing was when I watched it, I got probably 20 minutes in the movie and I thought, I forget because he's just a ridiculous jackass. What a good filmmaker he is because he actually is like Apocalypto.
Apocalypto's awesome.
Is a good film,
Yeah.
and especially in the second half when they get into the action stuff, it is a good film. Braveheart is a good film.
Yeah.
He's a good director. That being said, he has no chance at winning because everybody hates him. You were going to go somewhere else.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Well, this is one where I wanted to argue with earlier, so I'm saving it.
Okay.
Because Lonergan with Manchester by the Sea. Mm-hmm. I thought, and I think I even wrote this on your Facebook wall when you talked about it.
You probably did.
I thought that entire movie, you said it came off slow, and I said that tone had to be kind of sullen because it was the whole movie was being played off Casey Affleck's character.
Yes.
That's sort of waiting to explode, but not, just very sort of withheld, post-traumatic. Like, I thought the entire movie was sort of holding in something and not, I guess where you wanted more, it seemed like it was suppressing itself on purpose.
No, I agree that it was. I think that it absolutely was. It was an intentional choice. And I think that for what it did very, very well. I just didn't care for that thing that it was going to do. So I respect it more than I like it.
So that's not, is that more of a writing thing, or is that more of a directing thing? Or is that more where when you have a writer director, it's the same person? It's easier to get what you want out of it.
Well, I think it's, most of the time it's easier to get what you want out of it when you're a writer director to some extent. But to me, again, he didn't write the movie to direct it himself initially. He wrote it for Matt Damon to direct it initially.
That's right.
But to me, this is very much a writer film. It's a film that's about the characters. It's a film that's about, it's not something that's showy visually. And I'm not saying you have to be showy visually to be a Best Director kind of film. I don't think that's the case.
Right.
But you notice, I mean, like Spotlight last year.
Sure.
Nobody talked about Spotlight winning Best Director. There was never a moment where somebody went, Tom McCarthy's going to win Best Director. No, he's not.
Right.
We all knew it. And I feel the same way
And that's Manchester here.
Yeah, that's Manchester to me here.
So probably the other candidate would be Moonlight. If somebody's going to beat Damien Chazelle here.
Which nobody is. But
Right. Because Moonlight is 3 different movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Wrapped into one.
Yes.
And I mean, and the way he filmed it was they were completely independent of each other. Mm-hmm. The characters were on their own as the kid. I mean, so it's a kid, then it's a teenager then it's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
It should at least be thought of in this by voters. I really, like I said, I really like Moonlight. I probably like Moonlight more than La La Land here.
Yeah.
But La La Land's going to win.
You know, again, looking at the voice, I mean, Damien Chazelle is this exciting new voice, and it more than any other film feels like every choice in the film is his. He owns it. Everything is intentional. I was blown away by that film and by what he did with that movie, being able to tell the story that he did, and we'll get to that when we get into talking about Best Picture. But you know, I would not be upset if Barry Jenkins is the director of Moonlight's name, right? I wouldn't be upset if he won because, like I said, to me, the only flaw in Moonlight is that the third act fell weak to me. Yeah, and weak is a relative term because it's not that it was bad; it's that the first two and especially the second one had me so just like, holy crap, where did this guy come from? Yeah, that it just kind of was like, and we kind of ran out of an idea on how to end it. And that to me has always been the weakness of the film. But
cast was amazing.
The cast
could have also held it up a little bit too.
Yeah. The cast is sensational. Again, he did a fine job directing it. The movie looks great. Yeah. It's very well done. But I just think
La La Land heavy favorite.
It's so different. They don't. I mean, when they you hear the phrase they don't make movies like that anymore. They actually don't make movies like that anymore, and I'm amazed by what they were able to do.
Okay,
with
so
that.
since this is an important category, I'm gonna take a little tangent here. So Arrival, we didn't even talk about. It's an odd choice. Are there any movies that you saw this year that you would have put into this category? Any directors that deserved a look here?
You know, I came in when they were getting into the nominations, ready to make that case for Mel Gibson, and then they put him in there, which is great. I would have had absolutely no problem, and I can't even think of the guy's name off the top of my head because I'm always unprepared. But Hell or High Water, I'd have had no problem with that getting a director nomination. I thought that was one of the more. I had a blast watching that movie.
It was a fun movie to watch. It was a really weird Best Picture candidate though because we've seen that movie. We've seen the retiring police officer in the bank. Yeah. I mean, it was done well. Mm-hmm. I just was
it's a genre film that's done exceptionally well. Yeah.
I get the one and I don't know how you feel about this because it got snubbed at the Best Picture level too. I thought Nocturnal Animals, Tom Ford, was going to be Best Picture candidate, Best Director candidate, and some editing stuff. I mean, I thought that there would be a lot of Nocturnal Animals. Instead, all we got was Best Supporting Actor.
Was that the only one that it got the nod for? I did like Nocturnal Animals. I think the ending of that one probably left some people sour.
Sure.
I think that probably was part of the issue that the film had. I'd have had no problem with Tom Ford getting a nomination here.
But that's another one where he's essentially creating two stories at once.
He is, and he's the way that he intercuts the two stories, and it's always clear where we are. Yeah. It's always clear when we are. I would have no problem with him. He did a great job of, and that's a tricky thing if you think about it. Like you said, you're telling two stories. You know, Barry Jenkins told three stories, but each of them was its own separate chapter.
Correct.
We're not intercutting these things. We're not trying to make the audience sort of follow two stories in the same way, which Tom Ford did and did a great job of. So I'd have no problem with that.
I thought that was the biggest snub of this evening. Was just a lack of Nocturnal Animals everywhere. It was one of the better movies I saw this year.
I don't know if you know Jake Belinsky. He's a filmmaker in town. He works for Channel 25 as well. He would hug you for making that comment. I mean, the love he has for Nocturnal Animals.
I loved it.
Yeah.
David Mackenzie is the director.
David Mackenzie, yeah. And again, I'd have no problem there either. I did really enjoy that movie. I don't disagree with you. It's a genre movie done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Costume design, do we care?
Florence Foster Jenkins.
Okay.
No, actually, the costume design.
Sure, that's the only one. It's got to be.
Okay. Well, it's Allied, Fantastic Beasts, Florence Foster Jenkins, Jackie, and La La Land.
Ooh, Jackie's got a shot there too.
Jackie's pretty.
They made it look a very 1963. I mean, that's another movie that I was surprised didn't get more nominations than it did. Yeah.
Not because I liked it a ton. I felt like it had a bit of an identity crisis, but not in the costume design. Not in the costume design. It had a very clear identity in the costume design. So
yeah.
Okay. It's okay. So you're still going.
Oh, Florence Foster Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Okay. Visually.
Cinematography. Arrival, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, Silence.
Yeah, this is Scorsese sneaks in here.
Yeah, Scorsese did sneak in here. I haven't seen Silence.
I haven't either.
It was here for a week.
I know.
It was here for a week, and I wanted to go see it, and it just never happened. Again, the thing that I love about La La Land with this is, again, I don't know if you would qualify this as cinematography because a lot of it's probably done in post-production, but the use of color in that film, again, feels so intentional and so, it's so vibrant and it just jumps off the screen, and I love everything about that. I fully expect if I had seen Silence, though, I probably would be making a case for that film. It's like The Revenant last year. I didn't like The Revenant last year. I didn't care for the film. I felt like it was overhyped in a lot of ways. Right. That being said, that cinematographer winning, yep, absolutely. Yeah. Every day of the week. And I feel like that's how I would feel if I had seen Silence.
I really wanted to see Silence because there's people saying that was Andrew Garfield's better performance this year.
Yeah, I'd heard
as
that
well.
too. I'd heard
even
that
better
too.
than the nomination he received. But yeah, I have not seen it. Yeah, La La Land probably wins again. This is another easy one to give to the Best Picture winner. I wish I knew more about cinematography. I think that's the one that interests me more, that I wish I could tell it's being done well. You can tell when it's good, like Birdman. You can tell this was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But when it's another one I can't tell if Whiplash was, I don't know if Hell or High Water was cinematography well, or shot well cinematography wise. Yeah, I have no idea.
And it's also one of those things it's hard to talk about. Like, it's one of those things that's really tough to talk about, like why a film is shot well or something along those lines. Because, like, again, I can talk about La La Land, and I can talk about the color, and I can talk about the way that, everything popped off the screen, and it felt like everything was done on purpose.
Yeah.
I can talk about the big sweeping landscapes in The Revenant, and just what a beautiful film. And they shot The Revenant entirely using natural light. They didn't break out a light for that entire film. It was entirely done using natural light, which is stunning. Birdman, one take, or made it look like one take the whole way through. Those things that are very obvious are easy to talk about. Other things, it's like, it's shot well because it is, okay? Shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, but Birdman was easy for a lay person to tell. Yeah. Because it just looked like there was one guy with one camera filming everything that happened, which obviously we know is not the case. But yeah, like on Flickchart, there's this blog where they're going back 10 years later and re-nominating and re-choosing winners.
Oh, really?
And right now, like cinematography, like Children of Men's going crazy on how much people love it.
God, that movie was
But
fantastic.
it didn't get any love 10 years ago.
And it should have. I was pissed about it. To be fair, I was pissed about it 10 years ago.
Okay, well, that's good.
Have you seen Children of Men?
I have.
Yeah,
but it was one of those, when he brought up this big one shot in a previous podcast, I didn't remember that at all. But that's because I was probably disengaged from the story, so I wasn't noticing. I did not like Children of Men all that much.
I love Children.
Oh, I love Children of Men. Love that.
So you're
film.
wrong.
Remember,
I like this guy.
Remember, it's a chase movie. That's all it is.
But that tracking shot at the end is just,
so
it's sensational.
So that's one where I'd like to learn more about this category. For some reason, I feel like I'm lacking.
You got to work on you, man. Animated feature film: Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia.
I'm useless on this category.
The big story.
I have 2 children under the age of 8, and I'm still useless in this category.
The big story in this category, though, is that there was a well-received Pixar movie that did not get nominated this year.
Yes.
So Finding Dory did not get nominated.
Mm-hmm. Was it well received?
Yeah, I mean, among movie
I didn't hear any.
And my kids loved it. Okay. So,
My kids loved Moana. Like, they were like, we need to buy this immediately. So.
My daughter has a thing about movie theaters. Like, she doesn't like to go to it. So I haven't seen Moana because we're waiting for it to be on rental, because she'll rent and watch anything.
Wow.
My son was like, let's go see Star Wars, Dad. And I was like, yep, that's my kid.
That's right.
Kubo probably wins, though, because it did receive a technical nomination. So I'm guessing that puts it over the top whenever people are trying to pick a winner here. And it looked really cool. I did not like the story, but it's not it was on. I watched it. It was available to me.
Sure.
Zootopia, I've seen it, though.
Yeah.
I think my kids saw that one too.
There was some.
I was not in the room.
I don't remember which news station. There was some news station complaining that was like a soothing our kids, getting them ready to live in a police state or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, great. Oh, let's hope so. Actor in a supporting role.
We're hitting the meaty stuff now.
All right.
So this is actor first.
Everybody else has been peeing during the podcast until this point.
Sure.
So,
yeah. They fast forwarded. Like, come on. Man, I'm going to butcher the name.
Yeah, take us off 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
He's looking at the Moonlight guy.
He is. He's looking.
Hey, good job. Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. Mm-hmm.
Moonlight. Jeff Bridges, Hell or High Water. Lucas Hedges, Manchester by the Sea. Dev Patel, Lion. Michael Shannon, Nocturnal Animals.
You know, it was interesting that Michael Shannon ended up getting the nod for Nocturnal Animals after Aaron Taylor Johnson won at the Golden Globes in the same category.
Yeah.
And though, to be fair, when he won at the Golden Globes, I texted Jake Belinsky and I said he wasn't even the best supporting actor in his own film.
Right.
Much less, period. Michael Shannon's terrific in it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
This, I think, comes down to, I think I know who's going to win, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it pretty much comes down to Lucas Hedges and Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Bridges is fun. I enjoyed the hell out of
Sure.
watching him in it. I also could make the case he's not the best supporting actor in his own film, because
Yeah.
Ben Foster
Oh.
was pretty fantastic in that movie.
I thought he was. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the best role in that movie. Was
Yeah.
and I didn't know his name, but I'd seen him in several things.
Mm-hmm.
He was good enough to make me find his name out.
Yeah, he was very, very good. And again, Jeff Bridges had the fun part, and everybody was going to enjoy it. And he's Jeff Bridges, so you know he's going to get a nomination. But like I said, I could make the case he's not even the best in his own film.
Probably a win here for
Mahershala is going to. Lucas Hedges is terrific in Manchester by the Sea. It's a great performance. But Mahershala Ali, and I was actively mad when he didn't show up in the second part of the film.
Yeah, I thought he was, and
because he was so good in the first part. I was like, wait a minute. I'm done with it? No, I'm not ready for that.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's terrific. Plus, a House of Cards win there.
House of Cards, yes.
House of
I just
Cards.
I was like, oh yeah, I don't actually do know who that is.
Yeah.
And this,
I like that guy.
And I noticed that this is going to actually show up in the next category too. But Dev Patel not being the best actor candidate. I mean, where they put him in supporting actor to get him nominated. He was in most of the movie.
You're ready to talk about that in supporting actors too, aren't you?
I can bring. Let's go there. Actress in supporting role. Viola Davis. Fences.
Well, hang on. Do we pick a winner? We're saying.
Mahershala.
I thought you were going.
I agree. Okay.
He wins and he should win.
Yeah.
I'm good with both.
Yeah.
Viola Davis. Fences. Naomi Harris. Moonlight. Nicole Kidman. Lion. Octavia Spencer. Hidden Figures. Michelle Williams. Manchester by the Sea. This is supporting role actress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is and yes, I know the point you're going to make, which is that Viola Davis is absolutely not a supporting actress. She is
not at all
the lead. She is a lead in that film, and you're right. I do not disagree. I would argue between her and Denzel, which one is the lead overall, is a tough argument to make. I mean, she
especially
may get
the last 33% of the movie. She's
right.
the lead.
She may be the she might get more screen time. I didn't sit there and start calculating it, but she may have more screen time than he does.
But she definitely wins here.
And I don't like that.
Oh, to me,
I'm not saying she wasn't good.
She would, if they would have put her in Best Actress, she'd have won Best Actress.
But here's the thing: I also think that there's less competition in Best Actress.
That's what I'm saying. They thought they were helping her get a nomination by putting Best Supporting Actress, but I think they maybe put her in the place where there's competition.
I think it's a tougher category, and it's only because. And you're going to be surprised hearing me say this because of all the things I've said about the film.
Right.
Michelle Williams is devastating in Manchester by the Sea. I mean, it's one. I mean, she's in only a couple of scenes, but that one scene where they happen upon each other, I mean, that is powerhouse acting. I'm sorry, Viola's great. She's probably going to win. I think you're absolutely right. But I would give it to Michelle Williams in a heartbeat for that scene.
That might have been the scene of this year.
Yeah.
That scene was pretty tough.
That was the one time in that film that I was like, this is the movie I was expecting to see.
Sure.
She was, hands down to me, she's the best supporting actress this year. You're right. She will lose. It will be Viola Davis.
Who are the other three? Remind me, just so
who cares? It's just those two.
It was
Octavia Spencer,
Naomi Harris, Nicole Kidman.
Naomi Harris is also excellent in Moonlight.
The only one in all three acts.
Yes, she is the only one in all three acts. And I would, in some years, I would be sitting here making a case for her, and I would not feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, okay, we're good there. Viola they put her in the wrong category. I don't like it.
All right, the Meryl Streep in a leading role. I mean, actress in a leading role. Isabel Huppert? Okay.
Yep.
For Elle. Ruth Negga for Loving, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone for La La Land, and Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins.
I thought it was funny when I was looking at Gold Derby before the nominations came out, and they had Meryl Streep listed like 8th on their odds list.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, it's Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Like, just whoever's in the 5 spot, just chuck them out because she's coming in.
Yeah.
It's Meryl Streep.
Yeah, it either cost Amy Adams or Annette Bening, but
she gets nominated for getting out of bed in the morning, and most years deserves that.
Yeah, most years.
Like, have you seen her get out of bed? She's fantastic at it. She does a great job. I would have liked to have seen Amy Adams nominated, honestly.
For which one?
For Arrival.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen. I mean, I wouldn't have been upset if it was Nocturnal Animals either, but I think she was stronger in Arrival.
Okay.
I think this one's probably going to Emma Stone.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
fully
so
behind
too.
that.
Natalie Portman's interesting because even though the movie's she didn't have to do a ton. She nailed the actual impersonation and
that's the thing is
being of Jackie Kennedy.
And I can make the argument in 2 ways, for and against her at the same time. I do feel like a large part of that performance is not performance, it's impersonation.
Right.
A large part.
Yeah.
There are scenes where she has to turn on the performance, and she nailed those scenes. So I think she did everything that was asked of her. It's kind of like the Olympic diver that you look at it and go, yeah, they did it perfectly, but the degree of difficulty wasn't quite where it was for some of the others.
I'll tell you this. I felt like, so I watched that movie, and then I left thinking, God, that was super over the top, almost terrible. And I went to YouTube to watch the little video that the real one, and she sounded exactly like. So I thought her impersonation, which was terrible, I had almost felt bad. Like I'd given her I had to apologize to Natalie Portman for every shit. For 10 minutes, I thought
She's
were awful.
listening, so you're good.
Your
apology is happening now.
So I don't. Who did you say you think has this?
I think Emma Stone has it in the bag, and to me, she won the award at the end of Audition, the song.
Yeah,
she was great the whole way through, but that moment where I've told my wife when I left the movie, I said, when she says "again" at the end of that song, she won the Oscar for me.
Wow,
hands down.
Yeah, I haven't seen Loving, and I haven't seen Elle, but Elle won Elle was the other winner at the Golden Globes. Who won the SAG award for this one? Do you know?
Emma Stone.
Okay, yeah, so she's probably going to win.
Yeah, I think she probably wins. I think it would have been a much more interesting category if Viola Davis was.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. So,
and Meryl Streep was good. While we're talking about Meryl Streep, I'm sorry, I'm jumping us backward a second.
Go for it.
I'm pissed that Hugh Grant isn't in the supporting actor category.
Yeah,
I really liked him.
And he could have even
movie.
been a best actor candidate too.
He could have, but
because Hellberg would have been the
supporting.
Yeah.
You could make a case for either one of them in supporting, but
Hugh Grant was awesome.
He was fantastic in that, and he hasn't been fantastic in anything for a pretty long time.
He might have been better than Meryl Streep.
He actually probably was the lead over her too. But I was very disappointed when he didn't get nominated because I really did like him in that film. Just wanted to note that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since Corey's been so excited about Florence Foster Jenkins and been waiting for a chance to talk about it, there's one right there.
Clearly.
Loved Hugh Grant.
I just don't like that she was nominated. Sorry. I know she's the greatest thing we've ever had, but
it's not one of her best performances by any stretch.
And the last one wasn't all that great. Into the Woods was not all that great either.
I didn't see that one.
Okay.
But I wasn't in love with her in that. But actually, my wife and I rented that one too. And I looked at it, I said, man, I hope Hugh Grant gets a nomination. I know Meryl Streep will because she's Meryl Streep and she got out of bed today.
Yeah.
But I really hope Hugh Grant gets nominated for this.
All right, actor in a leading role: Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea; Andrew Garfield, Hacksaw Ridge; Ryan Gosling, La La Land; Viggo Mortensen, Captain Fantastic; and Denzel Washington, Fences.
I didn't dislike a single performance out of these 5.
Right.
I will say that. If anything, I thought Denzel was the weakest of the bunch. But
Really?
But again, that's that's not a bad thing in this group. I liked Denzel in it. I thought there were moments where he was a little too big. I think if someone else had been directing him instead of directing himself, they would have been like,
reel it in.
Denzel, just reel that in just a little bit.
But I will say this: I don't have any record of this. Just I can't imagine that there's anybody who, at least in the first 2/3 of that movie, has ever said more words. He may have the largest word count.
He did have a huge word count.
It was just him talking for the first 2/3 of that movie.
Yes, it was.
I mean, he was on, but I guess once I found out he actually did that on Broadway, he'd been making those speeches for forever and ever. If he just did that for this movie alone, I think I would have been all in.
All right, go Denzel.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. It was a little over the top at times. I actually liked his character a lot more when he was, like when it was him and Viola back and forth at the end.
Yes.
Versus just
his monologuing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd agree with that. When those two played off each other extremely well.
But this is the one Casey Affleck will probably win.
Yes.
And he absolutely should. I thought he was amazing. I know you're going to pitch Garfield here in a second.
Well, but the thing is, I can't, I loved Vigo in Captain Fantastic. I really liked Vigo in Captain Fantastic. And I just really, really like Viggo Mortensen. I've always thought he was, ever since, the Lord of the Rings movies, but I'm not going to say that he wasn't acting in those, but, those aren't known for their Oscar caliber performances. But ever since probably, Eastern Promises and
Young Guns 2.
A History of Violence, his Cronenberg movies. Ever since he did his Cronenberg run, which I think was Young Guns 2, was Cronenberg, right?
Yeah, sure.
But ever since those things, I've loved seeing him. I loved him in this movie. I'm thrilled to see him get nominated.
If the movie was a little better, he might be getting more play here.
Yeah, I would.
But
agree with that. It dropped off in the last third. Yeah, much like Moonlight.
Well, I thought to talk about Captain Fantastic, because it's the only time we can.
Yeah,
it was a movie where I thought when we got to that point where they I guess were the what was I gonna?
You're trying to spoil it without not spoiling it, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
When we get to the point where the conflict occurs,
yes,
I thought then it was going to be a very sort of questioning everything. Instead, it was almost like Silver Linings Playbook a few years ago, where instead we just had the fun, happy ending.
It copped out.
Yes.
They absolutely copped out.
And so it went from like, okay, we're about to see something really great to,
yeah.
Okay. Well, at least Vigo was good.
I did feel like the ending was I like the first 2/3. I was all in.
I was ready for something heavy.
Yeah.
And never got it.
I felt like it copped out at the end. But I did really like Vigo in it. I thought he was terrific.
Sure.
Who's the other? Oh, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I've been sitting here gushing about La La Land all day, and then I'm like, oh yeah, the lead actor from it.
Real actual piano playing.
Yeah, and he's very good in it. In another year, I would probably be trying to make the argument for him, but Casey Affleck is fantastic.
Yes.
He's very, very good at it. I did really like Andrew Garfield only because I didn't expect that from him.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be as good as he was at playing. I mean, he played a role that should have been very frustrating to watch.
Yes.
And I was with him the entire way.
Yeah.
I was on his side. He portrayed that role to the point where when they had the I'm going to call it the cheesy scene where they're all waiting to go attack for him to finish praying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Mel,
Yeah.
But Garfield was so good that he sold that moment so that I was only moderately annoyed instead of like, I'm going to walk out of this theater annoyed. So that's how good.
He had a good year. Yeah. Garfield he's no longer Spider-Man. Now he's
good.
He's a legitimate actor.
Yeah.
Look at him. But
I'd like to go ahead and mention Jake Gyllenhaal snub here too. Yeah. I'd like to go ahead and throw that out.
Can we just go ahead and acknowledge that he was snubbed 2 years in a row now? Or was it last year?
Oh, yeah,
was Nightcrawler last year?
Yeah.
Nightcrawler was, he was amazing in that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he was...
You might even like Nightcrawler.
I still haven't seen it.
And he was better in that than he was in
What does that
Nocturnal
mean?
Animals.
What does that mean?
People are killing people and stuff. You'll like it.
They're like, no, I'm not. You don't pigeonhole me, man.
But I would argue he was better in Nightcrawler than he was in Nocturnal Animals. I mean,
Okay.
he's very good in Nocturnal Animals,
Yeah.
but he was better in Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I liked him. I think I liked him more than anybody else in Nocturnal because he had to be two different. He had to be real him and story
fake him.
him.
Yeah, he had to be both him.
But I don't know who I would have taken out. Probably
Out of that group, I don't know who I would have taken out.
Sorry, Garfield.
But
Sorry.
yeah. That
So
being
yeah, said, Casey Affleck.
Yeah,
This is the one.
So tell us why. I mean, I've given my little Andrew Garfield spiel.
Okay, Casey Affleck. This role, it is when you watch this movie, it's extremely powerful in terms of dealing with grief, loss, sorrow, post-traumatic syndrome, all the stuff. And he almost holds it in to the point where you think, okay, he's going to break down. He's going to lose it. He's going and he's white fisting, basically white knuckling this whole movie, and it plays it without without blowing up, without keeping it just underneath the whole time. It's really impressive that he never missed a beat. I thought in how he wanted to portray the whole role. The scene in the police office when he was after his questioning for whatever reason, you'll find out.
Yeah.
I thought was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a terrific scene.
Oh.
That's another, that and the Michelle Williams scene.
Yeah, and I thought he ends up being kind of the calming force with her in that scene, even though he's the one that I was worried about seeing in that scenario. So I don't know. I just thought it was an unbelievable job of having to be extremely subtle. Yeah, if that makes sense.
I don't disagree with you. I
thought he nailed it.
And like I said, I'm almost just being a contrarian at this point when I say Garfield, because Casey Affleck was excellent.
Yeah,
he was terrific
awesome.
in it. I get annoyed with the foregone conclusions at a certain point, and it's like he's been a foregone conclusion ever since that movie came out.
Yeah,
and I don't know that he's good enough to be a foregone conclusion.
Just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's not true.
I know, but that's the thing. Like there are those years that I'm like the foregone conclusion. I'm like, yep, absolutely. Like when Daniel Day-Lewis played Abraham Lincoln, I'm like, yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah. I don't feel like he's at that level of good that it should be that obvious at this point. He's very good. I won't have a problem when he wins, but he's not like it's not Daniel Day-Lewis. I feel like that should just be a category because every example that I can think of this right now, I'm like
Daniel Day-Lewis is their own, their own section.
No, even Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, Meryl Streep gets nominated times when you're like, okay, she's just here for the party. You know, when Day-Lewis gets nominated, it's like he's probably gonna win.
Well, they have this. Him and Meryl have the same amount of wins.
Yeah, though he's the only person ever to get 3 in the best actor category.
Oh yeah,
like best actor, actress. She has some supporting.
That's right.
He has, and he should have had another one. I'm still mad that he didn't win for
Gangs of New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because his Bill the Butcher in that is by far the best thing about a crappy movie. But
All right. Best picture.
Oh yeah, that one. You wanna do that one?
Which we don't even have to talk about apparently.
There's like 150 of these nominated.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
So the snubs, like we talked about, Nocturnal Animals for me.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen 20th Century Women maybe thrown in late just because I really liked it. Hidden Figures doesn't belong here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But to be fair, I haven't seen it because it feels like the made for a Best Picture nomination entry of the year.
It's
kind of like The King's Speech or something like that. Those movies that you see the trailer and you're like, oh, you want Oscars.
This is like Remember the Titans done with good actors.
Here we go.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like one where, and I'll explain why. It's dealing with a very heavy subject, which is racism, which we're still dealing with. So it's like they could have really hammered it home, but instead it was done very softly. Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory is the bad guy.
You just said that better than I would have. That was what I was kind of thinking of when I say that it's that the Oscar movie. It's where you almost float over the top of a very difficult
Kevin
subject.
Costner's kind of the. I mean, it just was a very.
This is not. Yeah,
it was
it's
a
not
good
making me want to watch
movie.
this movie.
But it was a good movie. It just wasn't.
He's not making me feel bad about missing it.
It just did not have. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't an amazing picture that we all need to see. It was okay.
Well, the full list is Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. So
Can I go ahead and just say, can we please just go back to having 5?
it's a lot.
I mean, I know that they did it because there's not movies that people will have seen. It was the Dark Knight rule, you know, for lack of a better word. But can we just go back to having 5? Because this whole... We know that there are, maybe 3 films that have even a remote shot this year. And one of them is almost certainly going to win.
Yeah. It's probably La La, Manchester, Moonlight in that order.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. And again, all 3 of them are excellent at what they do. I didn't enjoy Manchester as much, but again, that's not because I don't respect what it did. It's just not my flavor of film. La La Land, like I said, they don't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah.
But what I love about that film, and I've held that back for the Best Picture part, but what I love about that film is that it took the classic Hollywood musical, and for the first half of the movie, you think that's what you're watching, that they're updating the classic Hollywood musical and doing that. And then the film turns, and it becomes a much more modern way of telling a story, and there are real consequences and real, to decisions that these people are making, and it becomes such a different film.
Yeah.
And you can see the moment where it turns. You see where it happens. And I love that they managed to pay homage, or I'm not pronouncing well today, to that classic genre that doesn't get made anymore, and then completely subvert your expectations of that genre. And I think that to me is what makes the film work. That and I don't want to go into spoiling for people who haven't seen it, but there's a sequence right at the very end.
A phenomenal ending.
It's unbelievable.
And there's
there's a sequence right there at the end where the way it's filmed and put together is just brilliant.
Yeah.
But also just that you feel this emotion and you feel these two characters as if they're alone and the only people in the world when they're sitting there in a crowded room.
Yeah.
And they're not even with each other. They're not even like, they're across the room from each other. But you're feeling this, everything that they're feeling. And it's sensational.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. And it's amazing.
I liked it. I was watching it and enjoying myself, and then at the end, I loved it. The ending drew me in. I was like, okay, I'm all in.
I got hooked on because I told you at the beginning, I was kind of like,
I'm
God,
okay,
is this overhyped?
This is going to be, well, at first I'm thinking this is going to be fun, but
Yeah.
this is not going to be the best movie I've ever seen.
Right.
But this is going to be enjoyable. Yeah, let's go. And then all of a sudden you start watching, and I'm a very, make me feel sad, make me feel, so when it started going, like you said, when it made its turn, I'm like, now I'm getting invested. Now I love this movie. And then for it to end the way it did, I thought, absolutely.
Yeah, I got hooked because like I said, at the beginning, that opening sequence, I was like, okay, this is the thing everybody's been singing, they've been excited about, and I'm not that fired up about this, so maybe this isn't going to be what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
But when they're dancing, and they did this sort of Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers number up overlooking L.A., that was the moment I realized that they had me.
Yeah.
That was when I knew they had me.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's, to
So
me...
La La Land
probably
wins. Manchester, if maybe. Moonlight, if
there's a backlash against
from
La La
last
Land
year
or something.
too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if there's kind of a sort of a turn from last year, Moonlight's got a shot, I think.
You're back to the Oscar so white thing, and
I think based on nominations, especially because some that didn't belong.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that Octavia Spencer belonged in there.
No,
I mean, Taraji P. Henson I could see, but so I'm just saying maybe if there is some of that, there's a chance of that. But I haven't heard much about that. It's been winning some awards though.
Moonlight, again, it's a great. It's like I said, it's 2/3 of a great film and 1/3 of a good film.
Yeah.
I think. I think if they had stuck the landing at the end, I'd be a lot more ready to be on board with that one. But God, I just love La La Land because it's different. I like different. I talked about Big Short last year. I like things that are different and exciting, and that's what this was to me.
So I'd asked you guys before to give a little prep on like an award moment nomination from a past Oscars that you would change besides Roberto Benigni.
I've got many in the chamber on that one, and Benigni's the biggest one.
But is there one that like is there something you wish would have happened or something?
I have a picture and an actor. Okay. That I want to be different.
Well, I could look at a lot of years and say that I don't feel like the film that I thought was the best ended up winning Best Picture. I didn't think the performance, that I thought should have won Best Actor or whatever. I mean, I look at my favorite films from the last decade, the 2000 to 2010 decade. The top two films on the list are Zodiac and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, both of which are brilliant films. Neither of which got a Best Picture nomination, much less a win. Zodiac, I think, made $10 at the box office, and I doubled it when I bought the DVD, and that's all they've ever made on it. But they're great films. So I mean, I could run off a long list of things like that.
Eternal Sunshine may be the best movie I've ever seen.
It's got to be up there. It's a fantastic film.
It's ridiculous
that it's different.
It's hard to say perfect.
But it's pretty close.
It might be perfect.
It's pretty close. Yeah, it's a great film. So yeah, I mean, I could make 1,000 of those cases. You have two specific in mind. I'll let you.
Well, Eternal Sunshine was the one where it's not a snub. I was more mad that it was snubbed more than anything. The one that I really wanted to win, and I don't know why I had a dog in this fight, but I did. I really, really wanted Mickey Rourke to win the year that Sean Penn won for Milk.
The Wrestler?
The Wrestler. I really wanted Mickey Rourke to win that.
He was terrific in The Wrestler.
It was perfect. It was perfect for him, kind of a comeback sort of thing. I was digging it. And then all of a sudden it was Sean Penn again.
Yeah.
Which Sean Penn's great. I still haven't seen Milk, so he could be amazing. I don't know. I really was pulling for Mickey Rourke that year, though. If I can fix it, that's my fix.
I have no doubt that Sean Penn was very, very good in Milk. But yeah, I can't disagree with you at all there. The Wrestler was my favorite movie that year.
Yes.
It's easily my favorite Aronofsky film.
I don't think it got a Best Picture nom either.
I don't remember if
I think it got snubbed from that too.
Which is a shame. Because and it was the one time that I felt like Aronofsky took his sort of signature style, the way that, his direction, the quick cuts, but also melded that with a really good emotional story. I mean, he kept his I guess his style in check to the point where that it didn't overwhelm the story.
Yeah.
and he let Mickey Rourke do his thing. And oh god, that was a good movie.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, that was one that my wife and I actually went to New York that year because she was pregnant with our first kid, and we thought, well, this is the last time at Christmas we can go somewhere and go. So we went to New York to see all the films that would be in Evansville in March. And The Wrestler was the first one we saw, and I liked it a whole lot more than she did. But God, I loved that movie. You mentioned Roberto Benigni. That's always going to be my go-to on this, and I like Life is Beautiful a lot less than anyone else. I think it's contrived crap.
It's hokey.
It is. It's incredibly hokey. I didn't like it at all. It just. I felt like not in the same way that you say this about Hidden Figures, but I felt like it took the Holocaust and
let's joke. Let's make some jokes.
Yeah,
it's the Holocaust.
And it didn't. It just it didn't work for me on any level. On top of which, there's little things like when he brings his kid up and he's doing his little charade. I'm like, there's not a single other person in that prison that speaks Italian. Really. Not one more person that is going to out him to the guards, or not one guard that's going to just shoot him. I mean, that movie bothered me, and he bothered me. And it was up against Tom Hanks in what I would argue was the best performance of his career in Saving Private Ryan. It was the one time that he was nominated, and there's no gimmick in it. He is just playing this really decent guy, and I loved him in that film.
Yeah.
And he was up against Edward Norton in American History X, which is, to me, one of those performances that you just look at and it's Day-Lewis-esque. It's that good. Yeah. So
I've never seen American History X.
We're going to fix that.
Wow.
I'm going to Clockwork Orange you, and we're going to watch that. All right.
Yeah. No, I have never seen it.
Yeah, that's that's my go-to. I actually had this conversation with a friend a while ago. He's a big Scorsese guy. I'm a big Eastwood guy. We agreed that Eastwood and Scorsese are going to flip their Eastwood's last and Scorsese's only Oscar, because I love The Aviator. Aviator was my favorite Scorsese film, and I felt like it was probably he could have won Best Director for that over $1 Million Baby, and I'd have been okay with that.
Okay,
but on the flip side, The Departed, but I love Letters from Iwo Jima.
Yeah,
by Eastwood. So let's just trade them. Just switch Oscars.
Oh, that's good.
And then Scorsese still should have his. Let's just give it for the right film.
I did like $1 Million Baby.
I did too.
Yeah.
But I mean, The Aviator was.
Yeah.
It's also the least Scorsese film Scorsese ever made, I think.
Yeah, The Departed was fun.
Yeah.
Departed seems like Hell or High Water to me.
It's a good genre film.
It was fun to watch.
It's also.
I can't believe that it's not. I can't believe it's here. Kind of thing.
Yeah, and the Japanese film, the Infernal Affairs, that it's essentially a remake of, I liked better.
Yeah,
is that like some type of sacrilege to say that about Scorsese's film?
It's anti-American to say
it is.
You prefer
that's
foreign
fair.
film.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. My bad.
We're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So that's the flipping, and then Mickey Rourke gets his just due here.
Yeah.
So according to the Evansville podcast,
those things need to be
those
remedied.
things have
post haste.
So whenever somebody references the best actor from that year, they have to act like it's Mickey Rourke.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable.
Or we'll
with that.
fix it in editing.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Totally fine with
Very
that.
nice.
That works. That works for me.
Children of Men. All of the
Children
awards.
of Men,
all of the awards.
cinematography.
Right.
All of the awards to Children
and
of
then
Men.
next year, obviously, John Wick 2.
But it is interesting when you look back. Not to like keep ranting here, but it's interesting when you look back. You talk about they're going back 10 years later and looking at those films. If you think about the films that won Best Picture, in our lifetime. I mean, I'm 37 years old, so I've been paying attention to this since probably the early 90s. If you go back and you look at the films that have won Best Picture, how many of them, if you went back today, you would say, yeah, that really was the best film of that year. That has staying power. I mean, you look at like American Beauty, for example. Came out in 1999. I like the movie. It's a good movie.
It's really, really good.
But it came out in the same year as Being John Malkovich, as the same year as Fight Club, same year as
Fight Club's got a real
The
shot
Insider,
there. The Matrix.
He wants the Matrix in there.
I would argue that The Matrix has had a greater cultural impact than American Beauty.
I don't know.
I don't think that I think it's a better film because I actually didn't like The Matrix that much.
Yeah.
But
wait, never mind.
Yeah, never mind. I like this guy. I hate this guy. But like I said, Fight Club's in there. I mean, that was a great year.
Fight
The
Club's
Insider.
Fight Club's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at those types of films and you go, was it really the film that had the most? That 20 years later we're still watching.
I love American Beauty. I watch it more than probably some other people, but I hate that that's the one you picked on. There's plenty of others.
Well, just because that was such a good year. It was such a good year.
Yeah.
There, I mean, I loved The Insider that year. I thought that was a great film. I thought Russell Crowe gave the best performance I've ever seen from him in that movie.
I'm trying to think of what other ones there was. There was a couple. Wasn't the year Crash one?
Crash Brokeback Mountain was the other one.
Brokeback Mountain.
Which I didn't
Babel.
like that either. Yeah, Babel was that year. I didn't like that movie either.
Yeah, Babel was not as good as
That wasn't that was the same year as Zodiac though.
Or was that?
I'm pretty sure that
what
was
was the Eternal Sunshine year?
That was
Find
04. But
Was
I think
was that Lord of the Rings?
that was
Return of the King, or was that Chicago?
Return of the King was 03, so I think Chicago would have been. I could be wrong about that, but
That's 2005. So hold on.
yeah.
Sit in post.
See if you can get this before my phone figures it out.
Oh, here
But,
we
you
go.
know, I'm not really racing that hard.
That's
I'm
good.
not trying to win here.
That was a $1 Million Baby.
Was
year.
04?
So 2005 was Eternal was nominated for like screenplay maybe or something.
Was
Sure,
Eternal
yeah,
Sunshine the year of Crash?
Doesn't look like 2005 was $1 Million Baby, Aviator, Finding Neverland, Ray, and Sideways.
Oh, Sideways.
Yeah, Sideways was good.
Yeah.
And it was Kate Winslet was nominated for the actress for that movie.
For Eternal Sunshine?
Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah. So yeah, that would
So
have been
now what do we do? Because now we can't give that to
the Aviator anymore.
Scorsese.
See?
You broke my system.
Man,
You
here
broke
go.
it.
We got to go back and give
Well,
it
I
to
don't have
like
to
Raging
give.
Bull
I don't
or
have to
something.
give Gondry Best Director. I just have to
Oh, okay,
give.
yeah.
I just have to give
Yeah,
Best Picture.
I'm good with that. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have to give Gondry Best
Yeah.
Director.
So Eastwood just
That was.
loses.
It was. I mean, that movie. I don't remember if Eternal Sunshine won Best Screenplay. If it didn't,
Who
it
won?
should.
Best screenplay. Sorry.
I mean, the writing in that film is just.
Yeah,
jeez.
that's unbelievable.
Sometimes you do see that. Like
That's been on his. So
yeah,
we have
it won the best.
Okay, so
original
Charlie
screenplay.
Kaufman at least got the
There you go.
Oscar, which
I'm okay with
he
that.
deserved. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I still can't with Zodiac. It was the other one that just. Have you've seen?
I don't think I've seen Zodiac.
Really?
That's Jake. It's not Mark
It's
Ruffalo.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
It's a Fincher movie. David Fincher, the guy who did Fight Club
Yeah.
and Seven.
Yeah.
In my mind, that is the most complete film that Fincher ever made.
I guess, and that's the real story of the
And I
Zodiac
do love
killer,
the
right?
social. Yeah, I love
Okay.
the Social Network too. But
Social Network's good.
and you know what I love about the Social Network is that you've got Aaron Sorkin, who is like the warmest, fuzziest. Like he has no edge to him at all in
Right.
anything he does. And you've got Fincher, who was the coldest, iciest, edgiest filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that film, for it to work, what they had to do was both of them bring the other a little closer to the center.
Yeah.
Fincher had to give Sorkin some edge, and Sorkin had to give Fincher a little personality.
Yeah.
And they did.
And Jesse
And it's
Eisenberg.
perfect. Yeah,
had
Jesse
to be
Eisenberg's
great
really, really good
to make it work, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how could he have been that bad as Lex Luthor and be that good in that?
I have not seen that movie.
I haven't either. I'm judging on the preview.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
I gave
the
up on
preview was
superhero
terrible.
movies.
I've never watched that movie.
Yeah, I watched the preview and asked for my money back.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it was. Oof.
True story.
Yeah, that was very
So
bad.
the year Crash won was 2005 against Brokeback Mountain, Munich, Good Night and Good Luck, and Capote.
I could have gone with Good Night and Good Luck there. I could have gone with that was the same year as Zodiac. I would have loved it.
I've never seen Munich.
Munich was
Spielberg,
good,
right?
Yeah, Munich was good. It's good. It's not. Spielberg's kind of got the two sides. He's got his Jaws side,
Yeah.
The blockbuster side, and he's got his Oscar side with Schindler's List
Yeah.
and Amistad and whatever. It's not one of his better ones on that side,
Yeah.
but it's
That was
certainly
Eric
worthy.
Bana was a badass, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And it was, again,
I only know
certainly
that.
worthy.
I only know that from Knocked Up. Remember when they're talking about Eric Bana?
Munich's a good film. It's worth going back and watching.
Okay.
It is worth going back and seeing it. It's a
Not-
good film. It's
not
not
nominated.
Saving Private Ryan good,
Yeah,
but
not nominated for Best Picture that year, but on the list on another category, Batman Begins. So clearly,
Was that In Bruges
Batman
year?
Begins.
That might have been the In
Should be.
Bruges
it might have
year.
been the In Bruges year. Yeah,
Where
I
In
think it
Bruges
was,
got
actually.
hosed that year.
Yeah. Colin Farrell.
God. And that's The Lobster.
Every once in a while, that guy's sensational.
Yeah, well, whenever he's allowed, I think he just needs to. When he takes roles where he's not Keanu Reeves, when he can almost be a little funny,
Yeah.
he's really, really good.
Did you see, was it 2 years ago, whenever they did the movie about Walt Disney saving Mr. Banks?
Yeah,
Yeah. He was the best thing in that movie.
he was awesome.
I mean, they talked about Tom Hanks for awards. They talked about was it Emma Thompson for awards
Yeah.
and all those things. They were great. He was the best thing in that movie.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell was fantastic in that. Have you seen Tigerland?
I have not seen Tigerland.
Tigerland was his breakout. It was a Joel Schumacher film. It was
No.
like this little low-budget Vietnam movie. he's amazing in that movie.
But when we keep him away from Miami Vice,
Yeah.
he's really good.
Yeah, just no Jamie Foxx and you're good. You can go play. Just no Jamie.
I've never seen Miami Vice, so
Go see.
movie. I like the show too much. Why do I need to
Go
see
watch
the movie?
Tigerland. Go watch Tigerland.
What year was In Bruges?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were looking that up. Sorry.
Well, he's looking it up. Go watch Tigerland. We'll wait.
Tigerland?
Yeah, I'll wait.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was the movie that made Colin Farrell into a thing.
2008 in Bruges.
So
2008.
2008 was...
So it may have. I don't know if that means it's 2008 or 2009 for the Oscars, but
It was not.
That's when it came
was.
out,
I say it was
so-
neither years for the Oscars. It
that's
got as
true.
many
There you go.
nominations as John Wick 2's going to.
Yeah.
So
hey, you don't know. John Wick
that's
2
true.
might get something.
Effects.
Yeah.
Overlooked.
Effects. It could absolutely get
And
effects.
It may be deserved.
Did you?
It
Have you
was
seen
way
it?
overlooked.
I haven't seen.
Is it out yet?
It did
Yeah,
have an
yeah, I saw
Oscar
it last
nomination for writing, original screenplay.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to have one. That's why I said what exactly the same number as John Wick 2. When
Okay,
it gets
well,
its
there you
effects
go.
nod, then you know
As they should. As they should. Well, and Keanu Reeves.
that was
best-
what I
best
meant
actor.
all along.
Best actor, Keanu Reeves.
So the 2009 Oscars.
I feel like we've taken your podcast away from you.
These are all. This is all
This was
edited out.
expected.
He's cut this. He cut us like a half an hour ago.
Yeah, it's not even getting published.
Yeah. This is just an excuse to get us to hang out here for a little while.
Was
Right.
King's Speech that year? Maybe?
I swear. Yeah.
King's Speech, I feel like was like 10.
2010.
Yeah, that was 10.
So the year before that was that.
It beat The Social Network. King's Speech beat The Social Network. Also, another one that got hosed.
What was the one before King's Speech?
Was that The Artist?
Oh, that's right. The Artist.
Yeah.
Talk about one. No, that was the year after King's Speech.
Ah, damn it! I thought I was onto something there.
But talk about a movie that's never going to be watched again by anybody that won Best
Oh, The
Picture.
Artist. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And it was fun.
I don't really remember what that was up against because that was the year my daughter was born, and so she was like 2 months old when the Oscar movies started coming out. I didn't go to the movies.
Probably smart.
I haven't seen. 2009 to 2012 is a gap in my filmmaking or my film watching history.
Yeah, it's probably right.
Yeah, now everything but before that was still a much larger than what I watch now. Like my watching now is pretty much limited to okay, let's see what's going to be nominated for Oscars, and that looks really good. But like back then, Batman Superman would have come out. I would have gone to watch it just to laugh.
Yeah.
This year, I looked at it and I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit. No, that's not
like
happening.
3 hours.
Yeah, that's not. I
Eating
don't have that kind of time to piss away right now. We're not doing that.
When they say Ben Affleck's the best part of the movie, you're like, what?
Now, to be fair, Affleck, the director,
Oh, awesome.
I love.
Except for
Sure.
Apparently, the new
Live
one is
by
terrible.
Night is
yeah,
bad.
yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, it's
But I mean, the first three, like The Town and Argo, and what was the first one with Casey Affleck in it? Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, Gone Baby Gone.
Loved all three of those. Those are all terrific movies.
Yeah, he's 3 for 4, which is good.
Yeah, but he was 3 for 3 a month ago.
Yeah, you're right.
A month ago, he
You're
was
right.
3 for 3. So
Yeah,
Well, he ain't directing the next
that's
Batman
one where I
movie.
get mad at myself. I saw Live by Night, but I didn't see Silence.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And was it the same week?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I see what you mean. Like, did I choose one?
Yeah,
over
like
the
did you?
other?
Were you like, I'm going to go to the
No,
movies today.
no.
I'm going to see Live by Night, and I'll catch Silence later.
No, I think I did see it instead of maybe like Loving or something. I don't know. There was something else.
Loving's out for rent now, so I'm running
Is
out
it?
of excuses.
Yeah.
It's every year there's
Well,
like
hell, now that we've recorded this, I don't have to watch any of these anymore.
Right, yeah.
every once in a while there's a couple of there's always like 1 or 2 movies that I have every intention of seeing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna go see it, but every time I go to see it, something else comes up, and it's just like I feel like Loving's that movie where I'm like, I really need to, but I'm never gonna watch that.
One thing I feel bad about, Lion deserved more, but you didn't see it.
Because it's also that movie.
But it also kept me from talking about it more. I think I thought I
Sorry.
was coming. No. I'm not blaming you. I'm saying
I felt like he was blaming me.
I think a little
I
bit.
need a ruling
No,
on
I get
this.
it.
But
Yeah.
it was better. I'm saying I wanted to somehow push that it was really good.
I've had several people tell me that actually that I really do need to go see it.
But yeah, it doesn't not gonna win anything. But it was really good.
Apparently it's on at AMC, right? At
Yeah,
7:30.
Lion. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I did want to kind of.
I couldn't
Throw that
even do
out.
that, but my wife is making pizza, so there's a pretty good chance I'm going to do that
Well,
instead.
that's probably the right
much.
choice.
Yeah, it feels like a better choice right
Yeah.
now. And I agree with you. Where is
Yeah.
Deadpool? But
I know.
sorry, I just saw that. Really
Yeah, no
behind you there.
Deadpool.
I know.
I did
No
really enjoy Deadpool. I enjoyed the hell out of Deadpool.
I wondered. Yeah, because everybody thought maybe they'd sneak in since there's 150 nominations for.
Yeah, 150, 160.
They didn't even
something
use
like
all
that.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They left 2 out.
I did really like Deadpool. I did actually enjoy that. I watched.
I
that.
tried to watch a little Deadpool on the bus the other day, and no, it wasn't for me.
Yeah. I was sick one day.
Were you
and
taking
was
it as
wanted to
like a
watch it.
serious film again?
Well, I
it's not that.
I couldn't really hear it. It had a lot going on.
You need to hear it. Yeah, you gotta hear it.
I did actually really enjoy Deadpool. I mean,
It's a nice silly movie.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks guys for doing this and not letting me talk. I appreciate it. And
We like to make it easy for you, so you don't have anything to say.
no, that's
you know?
exactly how I like it.
You
Yeah.
found a couple talkers, so that's good.
No,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
well, cool. Thanks.
Well, thank you
you.
guys.
Thanks to Joe and Cory for coming on and talking about the 2017 Oscars. Really appreciate it. If you go to evansvillepodcast.com/2017 Oscars, we'll get links to the TEDx video that Joe was in, as well as list of the nominees if you need that, and also to some other stuff. So check it out and make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Shout out to the people I've been meeting recently who said they listen. I appreciate the feedback, and if you see me out, definitely stop and say hey and tell me what you think of the show, good or bad. I'd love to hear it. So thanks. Good job, everybody.